My name is Sam, and I'm a freelance cameraman. Last month, I took a job that paid enough to clear all my debts. The job was simple. Film an audition for a rich, eccentric couple. Now, I think I filmed a murder. The problem is, the police say the victim doesn't exist. It started with an encrypted email. A one-night job, $50,000 in cash. The clients were a couple, Mr. and Mrs. Blackwood. They were old money, the kind of people who live in a world completely separate from ours. Their instructions were precise. I was to arrive at their estate at dusk, and I was only to use the camera they provided, a beautiful, vintage 16mm film camera. The house was less of a home and more of a private museum. Cold marble floors, walls covered in art where the faces all seemed to be screaming. Mr. Blackwood was a tall, skeletal man in a tailored suit, and his wife was unnervingly still, draped in silk and diamonds. Her smile never once reached her eyes. "The camera sees things the eye cannot," Mr. Blackwood said, handing me the heavy device. "Your only job is to capture the truth. Do not look away, no matter what." Then, the actress arrived. Her name was Alara. She was young, maybe 20, with the kind of raw, nervous energy that makes you want to protect her. She looked as out of place as I felt. The audition began in the grand library. There was no script. The Blackwood sat in two high-back chairs while I started filming. They told Alara to simply begin. At first, she was just awkward. She recited what sounded like children's rhymes in a shaky voice. But when I looked at her through the camera's viewfinder, something was wrong. On my screen, I could see faint, dark bruises blooming on her arms, bruises that weren't there when I looked at her with my own eyes. I lowered the camera to check. Nothing. Her skin was clear. I looked back through the lens. The marks were darker. I kept filming. The air grew heavy and cold. Alara's voice began to change. It became deeper, layered with a faint, rasping whisper that I couldn't hear in the room, only on my audio feed. She started convulsing, her movements jerky and unnatural. Through my lens, the room seemed to flicker, the grand paintings on the walls warping, the screaming faces twisting into grins. Alara was now openly weeping, begging to stop. I glanced at the Blackwoods. They weren't watching her. They were watching me, their faces lit with a hungry, ecstatic excitement. "Keep filming," Mrs. Blackwood whispered, her voice like cracking ice. "This is the most important part." Alara let out a final, piercing scream and then collapsed to the floor. Through my camera, I saw her body go limp. With my own eyes, she was just a sobbing, terrified girl on the floor. Mr. Blackwood stood up, clapped once, and announced the audition was over. They paid me in cash, took the camera and the film, and had their security escort me out. For weeks, I couldn't shake what I saw. I was convinced I was a witness to some kind of horrific psychological torture. I had to find Alara. I called every acting agency in the state. I scoured social media. Nothing. It was like she never existed. Driven by guilt, I went to the police. They laughed me out of the station. The address the Blackwoods gave me, it leads to an abandoned, derelict plot of land. There's no record of a Blackwood family with that kind of wealth. They told me I was scammed, or I was crazy. But they were wrong. Because a freelance cameraman is paranoid. I had slipped a tiny, digital backup recorder into the vintage camera's housing. I still have the audio file from that night. Last night, I finally got the courage to listen to it with noise-isolating software. Underneath Alara's screams, and under that horrible, rasping whisper, there was a third voice. It was faint, but it was there. It was Mrs. Blackwood, speaking in a language I've never heard before. And she was saying the same words, the same rhymes, as Alara, but in reverse. I didn't film an audition. I filmed a ritual. They weren't looking for an actress. They were looking for a vessel. And I was the one who captured it all, the lens that focused their power. They erased her from existence, and I helped them do it. I have the only proof this girl ever lived, locked in a single audio file. If I release it, they'll know. And people who can erase a person can certainly erase me. So I'm begging you. What do? Do I leak the audio and expose these monsters, even if it means they'll come for me? Or do I destroy the only evidence that Alara ever existed?